Alright, I've got a new video, and it's been a long time since I discussed the coronavirus. The scumbags in the media are making me really angry because all they ever want to peddle is it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad, and they're so transparent because we all know why they're doing that. Because they want more shutdowns, because they want to hurt the economy, because they want Trump to get reelected, and it's scummy beyond words. Look, even if, you think that they're trying to protect people, they're not. Because if you shut down the United States economy, that leads to a global slowdown, okay? That's what lockdowns do. If you shut down the global economy, because the United States economy is shut down, that hurts and kills millions of poor third world brown people. Okay? The UN already said this. It's fact, okay? So, we're trying to save lives. No, you're trying to hurt poor people at the minimum, But look, it's a false choice anyway, because you're not going to save grandma with lockdowns. They locked down New York State instantly, right? Remember that? They locked it down. Did it do any good? 31,000 are dead. It didn't do any good. I don't see any objective evidence that lockdowns work at all. At all, I think it probably has a lot more to do with geography, population density, weather, whether people are indoors or not. That's a big thing Nate Silver's been harping on. Like, I think much of the increase he thinks this one is because people are indoors. Why are they indoors? Because these states where it's exploding are very hot, so they're all going into air conditioning. But it's the same way in winter in reverse. And the virus passes really easily inside. This isn't talked about much, but it's very likely, if not proven, and it doesn't pass easily outside. So the more people are cooped up, the more the virus spreads. It's the weird, and like I said, that's not talked about very much. But anyways, so yeah, just the media's going insane, really annoying me with their bull crap, trying so hard to peddle this doom and gloom scenarios. But the funny thing is, if you go to USA, here's what they'll never show you. Look at the daily death graph. What does that look like? Oh, it looks like a vastly decreasing graph. Okay, let's do the 7-day moving average to get a better picture. And 7-day moving average is the best way to go because there's what's called day of week effects. Everybody who studies these corona numbers knows, which means like on Sunday and Monday, the death counts are much lower because everybody has off on Sunday. It's stupid, but it's like humans doing the processing. And they just don't process very many deaths on Sunday. And then they don't process very many deaths on Monday either for some reason. And then they process a whole bunch Tuesday through Thursday. And to some extent Friday and Saturday. It kind of starts declining a little on Friday and Saturday. You see how these graphs go? These big days are always like Tuesdays. And these big spikes are always going to be like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then the lower parts are always going to be like Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Particularly Sunday and Monday. Why Sunday and Monday and not Saturday and Sunday? I don't exactly know. That's just how it goes. So the best way to account for that is to just get rid of all the day of week effects and do a 7-day average. You can also do 3-day, and I'll click that. It just looks the same basic trend, but more squiggly. So 7 days is kind of the best way to look at these trends. The highest was on April 21st. It was 2,214 dying per day, and that's that previous 7-day trend. Okay. Today it's at 620. Okay. I did the math. That's a 72% decrease. Okay. Media will never talk about that. Okay. They don't care. They don't want any good news. And actually, it's been kind of plateauing here lately, to be fair. And it even spiked up a whole one. It went from 619 2 days ago to 620 yesterday. Okay. First increase in a long time. But that could also be, I'm not convinced yet, because whenever you have a holiday, it messes things up. And we just had what was it, Father's Day, and I think the deaths were very low on like Sunday and Monday. Whenever you have a holiday on like a Sunday, the deaths are even lower than normal, or more like the death processing. The deaths don't change, and the succeeding days you get a spike. So I think that's all we're seeing. It could also be a plateau because of all the new cases, but I mean, and you see, here's the new cases. You see that the cases are rising. But it could be a lot of things. More testing, okay? We test more. And it seems like the percentage of young people testing positive is much higher, and they don't die. The statistics are so striking that a small change in the composition of the age of who tests positive can make a big difference to the death count. Because the difference between, like, say, people under 40 dying and people over 70 dying is like monumental. It's like 20 times greater or something. I don't know the exact real numbers, but it's like 20x greater if you're 70 and over than if you're 50, I don't know, maybe 50 and under would be a good cutoff, or 40 and under, something like that. So that means just a little change in the, in the age demographics skewing younger can make a big difference in the death count. So we see that daily new cases, if you do a 7-day moving average for this, it kind of went down. And this doesn't have any relation to death counts, because death counts were highest like right about here, and they were low. They were very low. They've just gone straight low. Well, this has been plateaued. What this tells you is that the case count is decoupled from the death count. Now, is that going to stay the way? It doesn't look like that, because there is another thing that you can look at. It's hospitalizations. That's kind of a harbinger of deaths, and hospitalizations are growing in 4 states in particular that are getting hit hard: California, Arizona, Florida, and Texas. But look, here's the point of this video. At the same time, what the media is not talking about, they're talking about these explosions of cases in these states. Fair enough, but what they're ignoring is how much New York is down massively, how much New Jersey is down massively, how much Illinois is down massive. You know what I'm saying? Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, well, Pennsylvania's probably not. Michigan, huge. Michigan used to do like hundreds of deaths a day. They did 5 yesterday, And sure, Arizona has increased a great deal. Florida and Texas, I mean, those are not that high in numbers, but okay, they're up. California put in a big number yesterday. Like, for the first time, California probably, or one of the first times, led. This would have been impossible in the past. You can see California, Arizona 1 and 2. So yes, things are shifting to California, Arizona, Florida, Texas. Okay, we get it. Okay, media, you can get over yourself. The thing of it is, it's leaving. We've seen in Italy. Italy went through the same thing. They went through a huge brutal time. And now, if you look at the world totals, Italy is like very low right now. They're not even getting hit anymore. Very few deaths. The same thing is happening in different areas of the United States, okay? It hit the Northeast hard. It burnt out. They're done. They're not, the death totals are down like 90% in New Jersey, New York, and so forth. 32 in New York, all the trends are just fantastically down. They get herd immunity. Now, if you say they get herd immunity, people on Twitter will have a fit. Oh, herd immunity is not to at least 2/3 of people, I think it is, have it, and that's the only way you can get herd immunity, and blah, blah, blah. No, that's a lie. What they don't tell you is that that's true for like total herd immunity, where the virus can't really spread. But what can happen is when at very much lower levels, and I don't know what exactly they are, but probably like 10%, 20%, you start getting vastly slower spread, everything else equal. So you got your social distancing taking in effect, your this and that taking in effect, your fact that young people don't get hurt by the virus having an effect. And then you add on to all that, like maybe let's say 20% of people were infected, not positive tests, because we know that the real number of people infected is like at least 10 times greater than positive tests. So, if you've got 20% of people in New York, let's say, immune, that has a huge effect on keeping things down. And not only that, but what's the immunity percentage? Half of the deaths are in nursing homes. What if all the nursing home people are immune now, or most of them? The prisons, that's another huge place it spreads. You see what I'm saying? So herd immunity does not require 2/3 of people to have the virus. That's BS. Herd immunity starts having big effects at 10%, 20%, 30%, Huge effects. You can also call it localized herd immunity. It means like if all the nursing homes have immunity and that's where the majority of the deaths occur, well, guess what? Your deaths are going to plummet. And that's what's going on in New York and the Northeast, clearly, because cases are just gone there, Not gone, but they're decreased just gigantically from what they used to be. Metrics in New York are off the charts better than they used to be. They used to have 700 plus people die a day, and they had 32 die yesterday, So you see that this thing goes through a pattern, okay? This is all this is now it's burning through the West and the Southwest. The good part of all this is, I think once this is done, and it's going to be done before too long, it's over. It's over. This virus is over. It'll have burned through the Northeast. It'll have burned through the populated South. The rest of the country is just not going to be very affected because they're too spread out. South Dakota, if you go down here and look at their North Dakota, they're never going to have problems. South Dakota has 84 people die altogether, okay? They have one most days. Look at all these states that have one. 3, 4, 6, 7, under 10. This is the worst pandemic in human history according to the media. All these states have almost no deaths. Especially ones, like I said, Utah, Oregon, Nevada. These states are too spread out. The people are too spread out. They're never going to have huge problems, okay? It's just a fact. So, that's my point here. The virus is burning out. It sucks. I don't think lockdowns did anything. This pretending that lockdowns did something. What did lockdowns do in New York? New York was one of the earliest states to lock down, and they locked down hard. What did it do? What did it do? Not a damn thing, okay? Texas didn't lock down nearly as much. They lifted their lockdown much faster. Look at the deaths per 1 million population. Texas, 79. New York, 1,611. I mean, I'm not the expert on math, but that's about 20 times the death rate. 20 times the deaths in New York. 20. Like, that's hard to even fathom. Not, like, if you had 50% higher deaths in New York, you'd be like, whoa. If you had 80% higher, I'd be like, whoa. This is 2,000% higher. And the media never talks about this, never discusses it. So that's the thing on coronavirus. Now, it is quite possible we'll have kind of a spike. I don't hesitate to use the word spike, or at least a plateau in deaths here in the next few days, because you have a lag between cases and deaths. It's debatable how long that lag is, but Texas really started heavily having case spikes. I checked on like the 16th. This is the 24th, so about 8 days ago. So you can see that it's plausible, it's reasonable, that we could see pretty good spikes in deaths here. Now, I don't think it'll be anywhere. We'll never get to 700 like New York. We will not. We're hot. We're not as dense. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So maybe we get to 100, 200 deaths a day or something like that. So what? That's what I got to say about that. So what? It sucks. Nobody wants people to die. There's nothing we can do. And shutting the economy down would be worse. This is the thing that people don't affect. They think, these liberals, they live in magic fairyland. They think we can shut down and the government can just give us all money and we'll all be fine. They don't understand that if you don't work, you don't have food. That's how life works, Now, we're kind of insulated from the modern world because we got plenty of food, but it starts to strike. It's like all these football players or basketball players that are like, oh, I don't want to go back in the bubble. I don't want to go play. Well, what if you told them, you know what? If you don't play next year, you don't get paid next year. How fast do you think 99.9% of the basketball players would all of a sudden be really big on board with reopening the league, And we need to get back to work and, to heck with this. You know what I mean? Because as long as you're insulated and it doesn't affect you, you can talk all you want, These basketball players are not losing really income right now. The playoffs, if they go to the playoff bubble and one of the teams invited, it matters only 14%, I believe, to their salary. And these guys are most of them multimillionaires anyway. So they can probably take a 14% hit 1 year. You know what I mean? But what if you said, like, okay, next season, guys, if we don't have a NBA, you don't get paid anything. They go ballistic and they want to play so bad. That's how everybody is. The hypocrisy of the world just drives me nuts because everybody's about money and then they pretend they're not about money. Everybody, they call everybody else greedy and they're all greedy, and myself included. So yeah, that's my point. So if you don't work and you have these lockdowns, guess what? You start to suffer. So let's tell everybody, look, okay, we'll have a lockdown, but you know what? You all, I don't know. Whatever monthly income you have right now, you lose 40% of it. Okay, you don't get if you're getting unemployment, it's cut by 40% or something like that. If you actually made them feel the reality of what's going on, no one would be for the lockdown. We have to work to survive in the world. It's how it is. You know, so a lockdown is a false choice. You can't sustain it. You can't. How the United States covers this, because we're the richest nation on earth, and we can borrow. And that's what we do. We borrow. That's unsustainable, though, and inflation, you already see some effects of it. Inflation is crazy. Like, you go in a lot of these grocery stores, even months later, they're cleaned out, you know? Canned goods were cleaned out. All this stuff was cleaned out because the government was giving all these people all these food stamps. That's who cleans it out. You know, I used to look around the grocery store and be like, who's buying all this stuff? Everybody supposedly lost their jobs. Unemployment supposedly 15% or whatever it was. Who's got money to buy all these canned goods, all this toilet paper they're buying? You know, I didn't have just a ton of extra money or something. I'm saying, like, okay, we got our 1,200 stimulus checks. That lasts about 2 weeks for any reasonable person, you know? So I would always go in stores and I would be like, who's buying all this stuff that these shelves are just empty? The canned goods section was like empty, you know? And it hit me. It's food stamps, you know? Why wouldn't you buy it all? There are all these people on food stamps, you know? That's who buys out the grocery stores. They don't live in reality. They don't have to work for a living. They don't understand that this, but it just drags us all down, and it's not sustainable. And if you just keep printing money like the United States has been doing, you're going to have huge inflation problems sooner or later. It's very detrimental to the economy, no matter what everybody says. So anyway, that's just my update on COVID. COVID is burning through Florida, Texas right now. It is what it is. It's going to be fine. The good thing is I think more and more we're not going to have a spike in the fall by now. Because we burned through the Northeast, and now we're burning through the Southeast and the South. And that's all there is, like I said, because every place else is not that populated. And sure, you'll have some local outbreaks, whatever. You may have North Carolina or something. But the big population centers in the South are getting hit now. And the big population centers in the North already got hit. And there's no more big population centers, you know. And we'll see what the death counts do. It would be amazingly great if they stayed low, if they kept this incredibly low plateau. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them, even if they went back up to 1,000, 1,200 a week, you know, down from 2,200. The media will portray it as the end of the world, but it's not the end of the world, you know. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say about it. Like I said, we're not going... Florida and Texas are not going to be doing 700 and 400 deaths like New York and New Jersey were at the height of this thing, okay? It's not going to happen. So that means the numbers are going to stay low because New York and New Jersey are gone now as factors. And Florida and Texas are not going to reach the levels they used to. So do the math on it, you know? So anyways, that's my coronavirus.